All right, let's just dive right into this explainer and tackle a frustration that, let's be honest, almost every single one of us faces. Starting strong, but never actually finishing. You know the exact feeling I'm talking about, right? You get this brilliant idea, a massive wave of motivation hits you, and you go all in. But fast forward a few weeks, or sometimes literally just a few days, and that fiery excitement has completely fizzled out. Well, today, we're going to unpack exactly why our brains seem entirely hardwired to sabotage our goals, and more importantly, how we can rewire them. We're going to transform from chronic quitters into unstoppable finishers using some incredibly effective, science-backed strategies. Seriously, do me a favor and check your phone right now. Take a quick mental inventory. How many abandoned language apps, fitness trackers, or half-finished coding courses are hiding out in the corners of your home screen? Do you have a workout app tucked away in some folder that you used for exactly 3 days before you switch to that classic, I'll definitely start again tomorrow mode? Or, oh, how about Duolingo? Did you try to learn Spanish or Japanese only to break your streak by day 4, leaving the app to endlessly send you those guilt-tricking notifications? Look, we all do this. We buy the expensive running shoes, we sign up for the online boot camp, and then, poof, we just vanish. And the stats on this are absolutely wild. 90% of people abandon online courses. That leaves only 10% who actually reach the finish line. And this is backed up by research from places like Harvard and MIT, showing that out of 100 people who sign up for a course, 90 of them completely disappear after just 3 or 4 lessons. And it is not just online learning either. A University of Scranton study actually revealed that only a tiny fraction, we're talking about 8%, actually achieved their New Year's resolutions. Think about it. If 100 people sit down to write a book, maybe 3 will actually publish the thing. So if only 10% of the world is making it to the finish line, what is the other 90% doing? Well, they're constantly jumping to the next new thing. So here is how we fix it. Today, we're going to cover number 1, the permanent beginner trap. 2, the psychology of quitting. 3, the hidden cost of distraction. 4, 5 brain cheat codes to hack your workflow. And 5, how to build your finisher muscle. Okay, section 1, the permanent beginner trap. Let's look at how we get stuck in this loop. Now, a lot of us mistakenly accept this quitting habit as just a character flaw. We tell ourselves, oh, I'm just a starter, I'm an idea person, don't expect me to finish anything. But shiny object syndrome, or SOS, it actually acts a lot like a bad relationship pattern. It's that honeymoon phase of a brand new project, full of excitement, complete involvement, followed by totally ghosting it the second something newer and shinier comes along. This pattern is an invisible trap, and it silently kills our focus and our discipline. Moving right along to section 2, the psychology of quitting. Why do we abandon our goals? People often think their brain is basically defective because they just can't stick to a task. But the truth is, your hardware is perfectly fine. You are just falling victim to neophilia. See, thousands of years ago, a love for new things is what kept our ancestors alive. A new path meant avoiding danger, a new territory meant fresh resources. But in today's digital age, this survival instinct has been totally hijacked. Your brain views your current, difficult project as exhausting, and manipulating you into chasing a new idea is just its lazy way of scoring a quick dopamine hit without having to do any of the heavy lifting. This cycle right here maps out exactly how shiny object syndrome operates. Stage 1 is uninformed optimism. Let's say you buy a guitar. You strum one chord and instantly you're picturing yourself playing a sold-out stadium. Your brain gets this massive rush of dopamine just from the planning phase, without doing any actual work. But a week later, your fingers are literally bleeding. That is stage 2, informed pessimism. The dopamine battery dies, the real effort begins, and suddenly FOMO kicks in. Your brain starts whispering, hey, maybe day trading is easier than learning guitar. And then you hit the valley of despair. This is when your progress feels agonizingly slow. The work becomes incredibly boring and the results? Basically invisible. This stage right here is the exact graveyard where 90% of people quit and just loop right back to stage 1 with a brand new hobby. Here, your brain doesn't just suggest a new idea. It practically begs for a shortcut to get back to that stage 1 effortless excitement. And the ultimate trap? The second you pivot to a new shiny object, your progress resets to absolute 0. You never make it to stage 4, informed optimism, where you actually start seeing earned results, let alone stage 5, which is total completion. Which brings us to section 3, the cost of distraction. What is the actual price of all this quitting? Let's look at a legendary example from the world of cricket. Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli were these 2 young, incredibly talented boys from Mumbai. and they trained under the exact same coach. Early on, a lot of experts actually thought Combly was the more talented of the two. I mean, he hit back-to-back double centuries in 1994. But then, shiny object syndrome struck. Combly got distracted by the glamour, the parties, the shiny lifestyle. His daily grind just faded away. Meanwhile, Tendulkar faced terrible form, injuries, immense pressure to retire. But he ignored the noise. He stayed deeply focused on his one goal and pushed straight through that valley of despair. Today, Tendulkar is known as the god of cricket, while Combly's career fizzled out. Variety isn't a bad thing, but abandoning a core goal to chase a shiny new one, that's fatal. It is so incredibly easy to fool yourself into thinking you're being productive just because you're doing something, right? You research a new tool in the morning, buy a new domain name in the afternoon, but honestly, you're basically a rocking chair. You are moving back and forth vigorously, exhausting yourself, but you haven't traveled a single inch forward. Shiny object syndrome traps you in motion. True success absolutely requires the forward push of momentum. Every single time you drop a project, you aren't just taking a break. You are actively strengthening your brain's quitting muscle. And this is arguably the most dangerous part of all this. Discipline isn't just a switch you flip on and off. It's a muscle built through repetition. If you repeatedly quit, your brain literally learns to look for the exit door the exact moment things get hard. You become a permanent beginner, someone with surface-level knowledge of 10 things, but expertise in absolutely nothing. And let's be real, the market rewards experts, not beginners. Plus, you end up wasting thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours on half-finished courses and gym memberships. Ultimately, your ambitions start to shrink. You stop aiming for the top and just settle for mediocrity because deep down, you've lost trust in your own ability to finish what you start. Logan Paul actually sums this up perfectly. He says, "I don't do everything at once. I obsess over one thing until it's automated. Then I move on to the next." This quote right here highlights the absolute secret of the top 10%. Complete focus before moving on. Even modern multi-hyphenated creators who seem like they're everywhere, doing everything all at once, they follow this rule. They do not juggle 10 totally raw, difficult projects at once. No way. They pick one thing, grind through the valley of despair until they've mastered it or automated it, and only then do they permit themselves to chase the next shiny object. All right, Section 4, 5 Brain Cheat Codes. Let's get into the actionable toolkit to actually rewire your brain. Cheat code 1 is the Chul Sheet, or the parking lot. Chul is this great term for that restless, annoying itch your brain gets. When you're deep into a boring task and suddenly think, oh, I should really learn how to code right now. Do not act on it. Create a dedicated note on your phone, call it your parking lot or your Chul Sheet, and just write that brilliant idea down. This simple act actually tricks your brain into feeling heard, which satisfies that dopamine craving. But here is the real magic. Look at that list 3 days later. I guarantee you, 80% of the time, the dopamine will have worn off and you'll realize it was just a fleeting distraction, not a life-changing pivot. Cheat code 2, burn the ships. Back in 1590, when Commander Hernan Cortez landed on a new island with his army, he ordered his men to literally sink their own ships. Why? Because retreat was now impossible. It was either succeed or perish. You need to apply this exact mindset to your goals. Shiny object syndrome thrives because quitting is usually completely free. There are zero consequences. We need to change that. Give a friend $100 or 1,000, whatever amount actually hurts to lose, and tell them they get to keep it if you don't finish your online course by Friday. Suddenly, your brain is going to stop looking for the exit door and start desperately looking for solutions. Cheat code 3 is mental time travel. This is a technique heavily used by professional athletes and actors. Think about an Olympic swimmer with their headphones on right before a race. They are using specific music to mentally time travel into a state of peak performance. When you hit that agonizing valley of despair and your task feels absolutely unbearable, put on a dedicated project playlist. The right music acts as an emotional trigger, helping your brain instantly reconnect with that uninformed optimism and fiery excitement you felt way back on day one, giving you the boost you desperately need to keep going. Cheat code 4, the boredom reset. Our brains today are constantly overstimulated. We live in this ocean of instant notifications, fast-paced videos, and just endless scrolling. Because your brain is so used to this high-octane environment, a slow, methodical task like reading a book or writing a report feels like literal torture. So the solution? Force a reset. Dedicate 1 day a week or even just half a day to zero screens, zero internet, zero artificial stimulation. When you subject your brain to absolute boredom, its baseline resets. Suddenly, sitting down to work on your project won't feel so agonizing. It'll actually feel incredibly engaging compared to doing nothing at all. And finally, Section 5, build your finisher muscle. Let's talk about building real, long-lasting momentum. Cheat Code 5 is literally just working out that finisher muscle. Look, if you can't stick with a habit for even 3 days, it means your finisher muscle has severely atrophied. The absolute worst thing you can do in this state is set a massive, intimidating goal. If your finisher muscle is weak, do not tell yourself you're going to the gym for an hour every single day. You will quit by Wednesday. Instead, lower the entry barrier until it's actually laughable. Make your goal simply to stretch on the living room rug for exactly 5 minutes. If you want to be a YouTuber, your goal isn't to shoot a viral video today, it's just to sit at your desk and write a single sentence of a script. The goal here is absolutely not to build a massive project on day one. It's simply to prove to your brain that you are capable of finishing what you start. This whole process is about identity shifting. When you successfully complete that 5-minute stretch day after day, you're sending a powerful signal to your subconscious. You're starving your quitting muscle and you're feeding your finisher muscle. You stop identifying as someone who always drops the ball, and you start identifying as someone who follows through. Once that identity shift happens, upgrading to a 15-minute jog and then a full gym routine becomes incredibly easy because your baseline identity is now finisher. I want to leave you with a rather provocative thought to end on. Make a public contract today, because history is only written for the finishers. The world loves to clap for people who announce a grand new start, but true success, that belongs only to those who actually cross the finish line. So don't let your potential evaporate into a cloud of half-finished ideas. Pick your one goal. Ignore the shiny distractions. Burn the ships. What is the one thing you are going to obsess over until it's done? Make that commitment, set a hard deadline, and prove to yourself that you have what it takes to finish. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I honestly can't wait to see what you conquer.